have an absolutely beautiful day here in Bryson City, North Carolina, our first stop on our mountain town tour of North Carolina. We are set up right here in a little campground on the Tuckasegee River. I think that's how you pronounce it. But take a look at this beautiful river. The sun is out in full force. It's calm. It's a little chilly, but otherwise a perfect day. Fortunately, we still have a lot of good leaf color as we're getting ready to tour about 10 or 12 North Carolina mountain towns. We're getting ready to head over to the visitor center / museum here in Bryson City, and maybe see a few other highlights here in Bryson City before we move on to Sylva, and then Franklin is our destination for this evening. Many more mountain towns to come. Hope you guys come along and join us. We are currently driving on the road to nowhere to go see the very end of this road, where there is a tunnel called the Tunnel to Nowhere. I can't believe how many leaves are still on the trees on November 8th. It is still absolutely beautiful. You almost feel like you're on the Blue Ridge Parkway driving on this road, or maybe even Skyline Drive in the Shenandoahs. But pretty soon it will come to an end because it leads to nowhere. There's even some little pull-offs with some views, kind of like there is on Skyline Drive. The sun's gonna be bright today. It's funny looking at the GPS maps and seeing the end coming. This is as far as you can get on the road to nowhere. The road to nowhere in North Carolina leads to a 1,200-foot tunnel that you can explore. The road got its name from a dispute in the 30s and 40s when Swain County decided to give up its land to the federal government to create Fontana Lake and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Nearly 1,300 people were forced to leave their homes as a result, and the main route, which was used by the locals to get in and out of the community, was also gone, as it was now beneath the deep waters of Fontana Lake. The National Park Service promised to replace Highway 288 with Lakeshore Drive, which would run around the north side of Lake Fontana. But unfortunately, that promise never materialized. During its construction, Lakeshore Drive fell victim to environmental concerns and construction was stopped, and the road ended at the tunnel. The environmental issue was eventually resolved, but construction to complete the Lakeshore Drive never resumed and the road was never finished. Thus, Lakeshore Drive earned a new name from local residents, the Road to Nowhere. Yep, lots of graffiti. Wow, there's quite a breeze coming through here. And quite an echo. Woo! Wow. Well, we decided not to walk to the other end. We're turning around and heading back. It's probably darn near a quarter mile long, at least a couple hundred yards. All right, I'm glad we made this stop. Pretty cool. So this is the Swain County Museum. A lot of cool history in here.
David Swain, the governor of North Carolina from 1832 to 1835.
The Swain County Heritage Museum was definitely well worth the stop. That was some very interesting history in there, and there was no charge, better yet. So I was hearing this noise outside the camper, and I was like, that sounds a little louder than the river. Sure enough, we got all these little rail cars. I don't know what these things are. Like little personal rail cars. Those are cool. I've never seen anything like that. They got some loud horns on them. See a lot of people fishing out here in the river. Bryson City was a great stop. We're hooking up and we're heading on to Sylva and then Franklin. We had a great stop in Sylva, stopped at a coffee shop downtown, and I didn't have my camera with me, so I just snapped a few pictures while we were enjoying our coffee and the little antique shop next door. We are currently leaving Sylva, making a 2-mile drive to Dillsboro before heading on down to Franklin. But no matter where you're driving at in these mountain towns of North Carolina, it's just beauty all around you. Absolutely love it. Well, after we had a bust at a RV park with no fire ring, we moved on to Creek Campground, site number 24. It's a beauty. You can smell this lovely pine tree here. And there's not a sound out here. We feel like we're all alone. Very nice campground. There's even a pool up there. It's obviously closed for the season. We're going to relax a bit here, do some research on some restaurants around Franklin, and head into town and get some grub. This is where we had lunch at the Gazebo Creekside Cafe. So we left Franklin and we're currently taking about a 15-mile twisty, windy road up to Wayu Bald. 5,300 feet elevation. The absolute highest point in this area other than Klingman's Dome. It's an absolutely gorgeous drive. All right, we just left the main road onto Wayu Bald Road. 4 miles of bumpy gravel road. Check out this view. We still have 2 miles up Wayu Road. Way up there still to the Bald. I just had to stop and soak this in. That is amazing. Holy crap. Appalachian Mountains as far as the eye can see. I'm glad I got to experience this on a clear day. Man. Well, we made it to the top of Wayu Bald. We're going to take a little walk up to that little lookout tower. It's absolutely dead silent up here. There's not hardly a breeze and not a sound. I was just noticing how odd the trees are up here. They're like a lot of them are dying, and I noticed on the way up they're all really short. It's almost like they've been topped. I think it's because we're just about in an alpine zone up here. So far, this was definitely worth the drive from Franklin. Oh, it probably took us 45 minutes to get up here. All right, here we go. We made it. Pretty cool structure. Man, it's so calm up here. This has to be pretty rare for it to be this calm and still. My goodness. I just got done talking to these two ladies down here. They're section hiking the Appalachian Trail. Got 1,000 miles of it knocked out in the last 3 years. That was pretty cool. But here's a look from the observation tower. Not too shabby. As I stand here thinking about the elevation we're at, it's hard to believe that this is about the same as Mount Marcy in the Adirondacks. That is like a dream cabin with a little river flowing right beside it. Gorgeous. It's dark in this area when the sun goes down over the mountains. On the menu for tonight is leftover deep fried Brussels sprouts with bacon from the brewery we ate at last night in Bryson City. I'm getting ready to add some eggs to this. This looks pretty good. But it will taste even better. There it is. Looks like it turned out pretty good. Well, we really enjoyed our time at Bryson City this morning, and Sylva, and Dillsboro, and Franklin. And tomorrow morning we'll be grabbing some breakfast in Franklin, then heading towards Brevard, Flat Rock, and Hendersonville. So we're definitely getting some of these cities checked off. We've got a long way to go. Well, good morning here in Franklin, North Carolina. We are just about packed up, ready to hit the road. We're going to head back into Franklin on the way out of town and get some breakfast, and then make our way towards Brevard, Flat Rock, Hendersonville, and Saluda today. We don't know where we're camping tonight. We're just going to kind of wing it and hope we end up at a good spot, just like we did last night. Currently skirting the edge of Glenville Lake. What a gorgeous lake. Working our way over to Cashiers next. Another look at this beautiful Glenville Lake. I think this is Glenville Lake. It's also known as Thorpe Reservoir. So we are currently in Brevard, North Carolina. And boy, was that a crazy hour-and-a-half drive from Franklin to Brevard. Lots of hills, uphills and downhills and twists and turns. It was crazy, but so beautiful. And you know, there was two different ways we could get to Brevard from Franklin, and the way we chose was probably a little more sketchy for pulling a camper, but I'm glad we took that way because it was just beautiful, off the hook, gorgeous. Anyway, we're just outside of Brevard a few miles. My wife is over here in this little pottery studio because she loves pottery and she loves antiques. So whenever we pass a pottery place or an antique place, we try to make a stop in there for her. So let's go take a peek inside and see what it looks like. Well, we just finished driving through Brevard, and now we're heading up to check out Looking Glass Waterfalls. Just off of Pisgah Highway. Well, we just pulled off the side of the road here at Looking Glass Falls, just up ahead. Let's go get a closer look. Oh, you can feel the cool breeze coming out of this little valley. That was well worth the stop. A very beautiful waterfall. Now it's time to go get some grub in Brevard. Man, we just had a delicious barbecue lunch at Hawg Wild Barbecue. It was amazing. Not very many places have spare ribs. And I don't like baby back ribs. I like spare ribs. So this is the place to go to in Brevard if you like barbecue. And across the street is the Pisgah Tavern. They have like 3 or 4 breweries here in Brevard. I wanted to try out the Brevard Brewery, but it was not open until 2 o'clock. So maybe later on today or tonight. But we found an awesome campground just down the road called Davidson River Campground, and it is a National Forest campground in Pisgah National Forest. So well, let's go check it out and see if that's where we're going to stay tonight. Well, we just arrived at Davidson River National Forest Campground. Got a decent site. I wasn't able to choose my site. I had to book online, and this is the site they gave me, site 78. I mean, it'll work. We're only here for one night. So we're going to get everything set up here, and then we're going to take off to see Flat Rock and Saluda. So we're here at Skytop Orchard. Got us some fresh pressed apple cider and hot off the donut maker fresh apple cider donuts. Oh my gosh, and apple cider slushy. Good stuff. This is really cool building they got here. Now here is their orchard where you can pick your own apples. I think they said they had 79 acres in production out of 100. Pretty incredible place. Skytop Orchard here in Flat Rock, North Carolina. These donuts are so good, man. I can't stop eating them. We each got 3 and we're just polishing them off in one sitting. Hot and fresh. Well, we have arrived back to our campsite and it is time to get a fire going. Feels good to be back at camp. Time to sit around and enjoy the fire. Well, it ended up being a very good day. Saw lots of cool mountain towns. A few of them we just drove through the downtown area just to see them. Didn't necessarily get out and do anything at them, but still nice to see the area. Heading over to Lake Lure tomorrow after enjoying some coffee around the fire. Good morning. It's another beautiful day here in North Carolina at the Davidson River Campground. Got a fire going, getting ready to enjoy some coffee and relax a little bit, and then we'll be hitting the road heading towards Lake Lure. And then after Lake Lure, we still have 3 or 4 other cities we want to visit as we start traveling north, heading back towards Ohio. So it's been a really relaxing trip, and I'm really enjoying it. My wife's really enjoying it, and hope you guys will come along for the rest of our journey. We had a very restful evening. It didn't get near as cold. I think the low is about 45 or 46 tonight. But the previous 3 days we had frost each morning. I'm still amazed at the amount of leaves on the trees here on November 10th. Perfect way to start the morning right here. A fire and a cup of coffee. Oh. After going through that FKT on the Sheltoe Trace, I'm relishing every moment of this. We are here in Chimney Rock Village and heading over to Chimney Rock State Park to hopefully hike up there somewhere. That is pretty amazing. That is my kind of river right there. Look at all those boulders. Well, we traveled up part way to Chimney Rock to the ticket plaza, and I was the only one that wanted to go up. It's $17 a person. But to even proceed beyond there, you have to pay $17 per person, whether everybody going up is hiking or not. So we didn't want to pay $34 just to go up and see a high rock. So we are currently traveling back down, heading towards Lake Lure to see something else. Pretty spectacular rock formations out there. Coming up on Lake Lure itself. We really liked Lake Lure, however, it was pretty much a ghost town. It's definitely a place where people vacation during the summer months. A lot of the businesses were shut down for winter. So we are leaving Lake Lure currently and making our way towards Black Mountain, which is maybe a half hour north and west of Lake Lure. Actually just a few miles east of Asheville, kind of a suburb of Asheville. So we're gonna head to Black Mountain and grab some lunch. Just enjoying the drive and the scenery. So one thing we've noticed in North Carolina that we don't particularly like is no berm. The white line is the edge of the asphalt. So it's a very narrow passage when you're passing other large vehicles. And numerous times we have had our tire right on the white line and actually slip off the white line almost into a ditch. And a lot of times it is a 4 to 8 inch drop off. So it's pretty good right here, but definitely something worth noting driving to North Carolina. I definitely miss our berms that we have in Ohio. Getting ourselves some wood fire pizza in Black Mountain. The pizza here is absolutely fabulous. We got some of our favorite toppings: pepperoni, whole cloves of garlic on this pizza, onions and feta cheese and sun-dried tomatoes. Delicious. It's a beautiful little town with beautiful views of the mountains in the background. We really enjoyed our time at Black Mountain. Lots of awesome restaurants and little shops. Definitely made our top 5 list of mountain towns in North Carolina. So if we ever come back, that will definitely be one of our stops. Now we are heading towards Little Switzerland, another little mountain town just off the Blue Ridge Parkway. And from there, we'll start looking for a campsite for this evening. Just about the Little Switzerland, way up here in the mountains. We're here at Little Switzerland. We're going to take a quick stop at some of these little shops up here. Well, Little Switzerland ended up being kind of a bust for us. You know, being November 10th, a lot of the shops, at least half the shops were closed, and we went into a couple of them. Not much to see. This is basically just a nice stop along the Blue Ridge Parkway, but not a good destination in and of itself. So we are moving on, looking for a campground. Our adventures are always full of change of plans. We are on the Blue Ridge Parkway currently, just for a few miles. And then we are heading north to Roan Mountain State Park, which is just across the state line in Tennessee. And they have water and electric hookups. That's always good. Well, after being a little disappointed at Little Switzerland, we're getting kind of towned out, citied out of North Carolina. And we have decided to skip Beach Mountain and Burnsville and make our way towards the Tennessee line. And we were staying at a state park called Roan Mountain State Park. We safely made it to Roan Mountain State Park. Currently sitting around the fire, enjoying this beautiful Roan Mountain Campground fire ring. I like these kind that are made out of natural stones and not an actual metal ring. So tomorrow we have one more night. We don't know where we're going to end up at yet. It could be in Kentucky, it might be West Virginia, it might be Southern Ohio. We even discussed the possibility of going to Grayson Highlands and trying to find some ponies, but it's just a little bit out of the way. So we'll save that for another trip. But we got about 7.5 hour drive home, and we definitely want to break that up. So we'll probably go about 4 or 5 hours tomorrow, and we'll see where we end up. Well, good morning from Roan Mountain State Park here in Tennessee, just outside of the North Carolina border. And it's our first partly cloudy day during the entire 5-day trip through North Carolina. We've had perfect weather. And this weather isn't bad. You know, there is a chance of rain this afternoon. This is a really nice campground. One section is closed off for winter already, but this section here that we're in, it's kind of small. It's just one little small loop, but it's very nice. And the primo sites are right over there along the river. I can actually hear the river from here. But those are obviously all taken. But this isn't bad right here where we're at. It's just, if I was to have my first choice, I would be over there along the river. Oh, and I can see the sun peeking over that ridge, lighting up that ridge a little bit. So last night I was actually racking my brain trying to figure out some place to stop and see or visit on the way home instead of just driving straight through, because we are like 8 hours away from Bellefontaine, our home in Ohio. And I thought about stopping at Grayson Highland State Park because I've always wanted to go there, see if we could find some ponies. But I just know that if we go there, we're going to end up walking around half the day, and then, knowing our luck, we'll not see any ponies. So we'll save Grayson Highlands for another trip where I can actually go backpacking there for a couple days. So anyways, I guess we're just going to start heading home through West Virginia after we go through Tennessee, and possibly stay at Beach Fork State Park, which is pretty close to Huntington, West Virginia. It's about a 4.5 hour drive from here, from Roan Mountain. And if we decide to push on a little further, we may go on into Ohio and stay at Shawnee State Park near Portsmouth. That's where the backpack trail is that I've backpacked. I have never stayed at the state park, but it looks really nice. This is Thursday. We have one more night. We could stay as long as we want. We won't really have anything we have to be home for right away, but our oldest son is turning 20 this Saturday, so we are wanting to try to be home before Saturday to celebrate his 20th birthday. So that is kind of the plan for today. We'll finish our coffee and have some breakfast over the fire and hit the road. Nice background music. Well, as you can see, we have returned home from our North Carolina RV camping trip. We are unhooked, unpacked, and winterized. We had a fantastic time visiting so many awesome places in North Carolina and can't wait to go back and do it again. I will drop a list down in the description box of all the cities and towns we visited, and please drop me a comment of towns and cities that you think we may have missed that we might need to see on our next trip to North Carolina. Originally, we had planned on one final night in West Virginia or in Southern Ohio to visit a state park that we have never been to, but we came into some rain and just decided to push on home the final 3 hours instead of being cooped up in the camper all night. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'm Jason Wish, wishing you a great time on your next adventure.